How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, do me a huge favor, go down and subscribe. Welcome back to another video on the Miata. Today we're taking a little break from the interior and we're moving over to the engine bay. If you guys have missed the last couple of videos on the Miata or haven't been following with the project, first of all, if you're not following, make sure to go subscribe. But we took out a good amount of the interior and we're currently working on getting these door cards pieced back together. I have a couple of parts for the door cards and whatnot. I'm still trying to figure everything out in the car, so that's why it's taking so long, but I do have some materials now. In the next couple of days, I'm gonna get everything like all together, ready, fitted, and make sure everything works, and then we're gonna cut out some cards, and you guys will have to stay tuned for that. Today, however, we're touching the engine bay, and more specifically, we're doing a clean on the engine bay. Now, this engine bay is filthy. We're gonna finally clean it and make it look as good as I can possibly get it with just a couple of brushes, a vacuum, an air hose, and a little bit of water. So let's see what we can do with this engine bay, and hopefully it turns out pretty well. Now, I'm not going for like the most prestigious engine bay. I just don't want it to look like this anymore every time I open the engine, because honestly, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. That being said, step one is going to be checking all the electrical connections, and I think I'm going to actually take the battery out of the car, or at least pull the fuse for the pop-up lights. So let's check all the connections, which would entail like all of these electrical connections back here, all the clips, making sure that everything is properly clipped in. That way, since we are going to use a little bit of water, nothing can sneak in. Now, as long as you cover your engine and the alternator and cover like this area, you can use water around here. I just find that a little sketchy, but also we're in the garage, so we can't do that. But what we can do is have a bucket of water right there and slowly kind of do everything by hand. So let's go ahead and push all of these down here, making sure all of them are plugged in. Push all of these down, and I'm gonna go through just in the whole engine bay and make sure all of these are clipped in. There is a loose connection here, so I'm going to make sure to do my best to avoid getting this wet here and just go through and push everything in. Seems like everything checks out. So now for step number two, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a brush, and then with the brush I'm going to use the vacuum cleaner and then kind of get all of the stuff and do a dry clean around everything. So vacuum cleaner with a toothbrush that I've used for cleaning other things. Another thing that I have is a air compressor that is going to push air for the dry clean as well. So I'm going to go ahead and actually start vacuuming, doing all of that, and then get the air hose out, and then we're going to spray it and then also vacuum at the same time. So I've got just the vacuum part done. Now what I'm going to do is go around and get the dirt loose with the brush and go all the way around once again with the brush and see how much more stuff I can get out with it agitated. So I've done this side. You can see how clean that coilover is now compared to the other side that I'll show in just a second. And you can kind of see that all the dirt and stuff from in there has been picked up. And it's not a huge difference that you can see on camera, but it's definitely a slight difference. I'm going to start with this side of the engine bay and then make my way over to that side of the engine bay. One thing I guess I forgot to do was pull the headlight relay or fuse, or take the battery out. The headlight fuse is this one right here. So what I'm going to do is come here and take that one out. I'm just going to double check it and press the service button inside and make sure they don't come up and down. That way, in case this for whatever reason flips up, my hand doesn't get caught in it. And pressing the service light and nothing's happening, so that's a good sign. Likelihood of these popping up for no reason, pretty unlikely, but also at the same time, I don't want to take the chance and lose a finger. So what I'm going to do right here is kind of cover up the fender here to protect against the hose that I am potentially going to rub up against it. So we have here my compressor. So what this is going to do is knock out any dirt, debris, whatever that I can by trying to hose it out. So very slight difference between the two steps. Again, just the little crevices with the junk that was in it are a little clearer. A lot of stuff kind of was flying around and kind of flew underneath the car, so most likely when I move the car out after winter, there's probably gonna be a little bit of dirt underneath it. But next step, we're now gonna take the water that's probably lukewarm still, and I'm gonna take my brush and kind of go all the way through with my brush, get everything nice and wet with the brush, and then I'll show you the next step and what I have bought to get this detail done. Let me show you guys the next tool that I'm going to use, and I'm going to keep grinding on. My camera battery is most likely going to die in the next probably 15-20 minutes or so I'm not going to leave it on a time lapse the entire time, but I'll give you guys kind of a rundown and a slight time lapse of the things I'm doing. So first of all, I uncovered a VIN number I didn't know previously existed right there, if you guys can kind of see it. Also, under all of this black gunk, as you can see right there, there's actually a beautiful red paint. So all the black right there is actually just covering up a ton of red paint. So I hope that I can keep digging and kind of get all of that stuff off. If I decide to keep the car for an extremely long time, it's gonna get a respray. And when it gets a respray, the engine bay is gonna be done as well, because I'll probably do the entire thing. Truth is, I was actually trying to find detail brushes, but couldn't find them. But I also was looking for drill brushes. So I can attach these to a drill, and I can actually get a pretty good clean on some of the surfaces here. So I'm gonna do this now that it's kind of like wet, and I'll dip this a little bit so it has a little bit of something to work on with, and hopefully I can continue to keep getting this stuff off. At one point during the summer, I'm gonna have to get even deeper. I didn't realize how dirty this thing was, or at least I didn't realize that all of the black stuff can actually be taken off like pretty easily. But I just want to get like a kind of minor detail done. I'm already enjoying how this side is kind of turning out. It's kind of like livening the plastic up a little bit. You guys can kind of see the difference. It's a little like bright here, and so like very dark and dingy in terms of the entire thing there. It's looking decent. If you guys can tell, probably not. Just around this edge right here and right here, it might be a little more silver. So if we come right there, you can actually see where I put a wire brush, and you can slightly see how clean it's coming out. So I've kind of got this side done. I mean, the more I look at it, the more I realize that I'm gonna have to keep going deeper and deeper into the clean. So what I'm doing for now is I'm just getting all the surface stuff, doing what I was gonna do originally, and not go super deep. If anyone has any tips, I think all of the black stuff is actually coating that's starting to flake up. Because on this side, it's still pretty like coated, right? And it doesn't look like dirt, and it looks like there was some type of seal around it. And if anyone can confirm or deny if the Miatas came with that from factory, or if anyone can say if what it might be a common thing to do or something. But at the same time, like there's a lot of places where I need to remove parts to get into, and things like around here and around the servo area. Eventually some of these parts will come off. When they do come off, I'll go deeper. If anyone has tips to kind of get into the back, what I should use to get this off, because I can sit here for hours and scrub it in a good like solution or mix or something, some type of chemical to kind of get it off easier. Easier said than done, you know, you kind of have to go and test and see what happens, but I'm going to continue cleaning this side off, and then I'll kind of show you guys a after and see whether or not I made a difference or not. So I'm just going to be real here for a second. I think I still see a difference. It's not as much as I was hoping it would be. And all those like DIY engine cleaning and all of that, they usually have some pretty good materials and whatnot. And this was my first time ever trying something like this. And I would give this a thumbs in the middle. It's not a good job, but I think it made some parts a little better. And it kind of made me realize how dirty my engine bay was before. But here is the after of the engine bay. And honestly, it looks literally the same on camera. In person, some of these parts are shiny, the coilovers are a little bit more shiny. All of like that debris and dirt that was on these things is all cleaned off, but on camera I think they look the same. It's like the most disappointing DIY cleaning video ever. It's like you go to YouTube and see all those satisfying videos, and then you come to my channel and just see like nothing happen. Well, sometimes it goes that way, I guess. I'm happy with the clean for now though. My camera is flashing red. I'm kind of satisfied for now. We're gonna go in more detail in the future, but I just wanted to kind of feel it out, and clearly I was a little in over my head coming into this, even though this shouldn't be that hard. That's all I have for this video though. If you did enjoy, leave me a like, subscribe to the channel for more Miata restoration content, and we need to start this car up soon enough too. So, see you guys in the next video.